This is Russell Copeland, former NFL player for the Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles, and Green Bay Packers. And this weekend is the conference championships. And in conference championship games, I think legacies are made. And I think defense wins games, but I think ultimately quarterbacks wins championships and Super Bowl titles. And speaking of the quarterbacks, when I look at the AFC quarterbacks and the matchups that you have in the AFC, the Chiefs going against the Cincinnati Bengals, I think that was expected. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. But when you look at the NFC, I think it's the unexpected because of the quarterbacks that are playing. I don't think anyone thought that either of these quarterbacks would be leading their teams to the NFC Championship game, and that is Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles and Brock Purdy for the San Francisco 49ers. And starting with Brock Purdy, what a tremendous year this young man has had. You know, being the last player taken in last year's draft, Mr. Irrelevant. And now I think he's definitely relevant. I think his relevance is the reason why the San Francisco 49ers are playing in the championship game. He started 7 games and he's 7-0. And just the team period, the San Francisco 49ers are the hottest team, winning 12 in a row. And then there's Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think anyone thought that he would be in this position, a leading candidate for the MVP, leading his football team to 13-1. Now they're in the NFC Championship game. You know, coming into this season, there were a lot of questions and skeptics about Jalen Hurts. He was 12-17-1 as a starter, losing in the wild card round last year to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. There were a lot of questions. You know, could he be the quarterback that would lead this team to division titles, to playoff victories? I think he has definitely answered those skeptics. I think personally he should be the MVP, and I think he epitomizes what the MVP is, leading his football team to 13-1, then getting hurt, getting injured, and not being able to play for 2 games. The football team did not look like the dominating team they were the majority of the year when he was the starting quarterback. And now, since he's been back, he beat the Giants in the finale. Last week, another rematch with the Giants, a dominating performance by Jalen Hurts. But I just think he galvanizes the football team. I think his leadership, you can see how the players respond to him offensively, defensively, and special teams. And now when I look at the matchups in the NFC, I think it's close across the board. I look at the Eagles offensively, they're number 3. Offensively, defensively, they're number 2. The San Francisco 49ers are number 5 offensively and has the number 1 overall defense. And I'm going to start with the defense for the San Francisco 49ers. And the reason why this football team is the number 1 overall defense is because they don't really make mistakes. And yes, they do have Pro Bowl players in Fred Warner. You've got Nick Bosa. You've got Greenlaw. You also have Armstead. But they don't make mistakes. They force the opposition to make mistakes. They dictate to the offense of how they're going to play the game. And you don't see busted coverages with the San Francisco 49ers. If they're playing cover 2, they play cover 2 the way it's supposed to be drawn up. You see the middle linebacker in Fred Warner. He takes the middle of the football field away because that's usually the weakness when you run a cover 2 defense. They get the interceptions when it presents itself. Tip balls, they get those interceptions. Sack fumbles, they get the sack, and they also recover the fumble. Now, if they're going to win this game from a defensive perspective, they're going to play physical. And I think they are going to attack Jalen Hurts. They're going to hit him often. They're going to hit him hard, and they're going to hit him early in the game. You may even see them get 15-yard penalties when the opportunity presents itself to hit Jalen Hurts. They want to take off his running capability out of the game and see if Jalen Hurts can beat them passing the football. That's going to be their defensive plan. And offensively for the San Francisco 49ers is physicality. They want to run the football with Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. They want to be physical up front. You got Trent Williams leading that offensive line, a really good physical offensive line. They want to have 2nd and short, 3rd and short. Now they can give the football to Kittles. They can hit him on the seam routes. Because your offense is open. You get the football to Deebo Samuels. Now you have Ayuk running the deep ends. You have him running the deep overs. He runs the comeback. Really good receiving core. Now they can be able to run their personnel groupings and now have the mismatches that they want because the playbook is wide open because they have 2nd and short and 3rd and short. That's going to be their philosophy offensively to wear down the Philadelphia Eagles. Now Brock Purdy can get the football out of his hands and he does not have a lot of pressure on him composed to being 2nd and short and 3rd and short. But if the San Francisco 49ers are going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, Brock Purdy has to put the football in the end zone. And I think the Dallas Cowboys did a tremendous job last week of preventing that. The Dallas Cowboys actually had some opportunities to get some interceptions that they did not come up with, but they prevented him from getting the football in the end zone. If he's going to beat the Eagles, he has to have a big game, and he has to put the football in the end zone. Now I'm going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles defensive side of the football. Man, what a relentless group of guys the Philadelphia Eagles are. Starting up front, their starting front 4 defensive linemen all have double-digit sacks. And coming into this game, counting the regular season and the playoff game, they have 75 sacks. That's second all time behind the 85 Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears had 80, they have 75. And anytime that you're comparing a defense to the Chicago Bears, the 85 Chicago Bears, I think that says enough. Enough being said on that. That's how relentless this Philadelphia Eagles front is. And for them defensively, for them to win the game defensively, they want to put pressure on Brock Purdy. They want him to play behind the chain, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and to see how he responds to the pressure, because that's what they do best, is rush the passer. That's when they get the tip balls for interceptions. That's when they get the sacks, and also they can get the sack fumbles. That's the way they want to play against Brock Purdy. Now, when they get him 2nd and long, defensively, they can match up with those personnel matches that cause a lot of problems that the San Francisco 49ers offense usually does. Now, because you can dictate defensively how you want to play. Offensively, I think it's going to come down to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts running the football. He has to be able to run the football, and it's going to be a physical game. Will his shoulder be able to hold up against this physical defensive front linebackers from the San Francisco 49ers? But he has to have the RPO game going, where he can either hand the football off to Miles Sanders, he can keep it and get outside and get some runs, or he can come with the RPO game and hit the slant, because he's going to read that drop outside linebacker or that defensive end and hit the slant pattern or the end cutting routes to A.J. Brown, who I think is the best wide receiver in the National Football League in end cutting routes. I think that's what they have to do. And also, offensively, they need to have some balance. They have to run the football with their running backs as well. And when it comes to passing, you have Smith, you have Goddard, you have a lot of weapons you can throw the football to if you can get this San Francisco 49ers team off balance. But balance is going to be the key in Jalen Hurts. And I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles because I think Jalen Hurts is the key to victory. Now let's go to the AFC Championship. A lot of questions about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' ankle. How healthy is Patrick Mahomes? For me personally, I don't think the ankle will be an issue as far as dropping back on the 3rd step drop or the 5th step drop, because he throws the football from different angles because he has the baseball pedigree. I don't think that'll be an issue. I think what the issue can come to play is how the ankle responds at halftime, playing on the first half. How he responds if he gets tackled, if he gets hit on that ankle. Will he be able to shake it off, or will it be an issue, and will he be limping around? I think that's going to be the biggest question as far as the ankle if it gets hit on. And there's questions about who's the best quarterback, Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes. 1A, 1B, who's number one? I think it's Patrick Mahomes. I think at 27 years old, Patrick Mahomes is the most accomplished player at the quarterback position that we've seen in the history of the National Football League. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. He started for 5 seasons. All 5 of those seasons, he has went to the AFC Championship consecutively. Went to the championship. And guess what? He has not played a road game. That is sheer dominance. When you look at Joe Burrow, there's an argument because he has beaten Patrick Mahomes 3 times. And if he beats Patrick Mahomes for the 4th time, I think there's a legitimate argument who is the better quarterback. But for me, I look at Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and I look at those weapons. And I think if Patrick Mahomes had T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase, I think that he will be breaking records each and every game. And I think that he will be on the verge of going to the Super Bowl, and he will be winning Super Bowls at a very fast pace if he had those weapons. And I'll just leave it at that. And, you all can decide who you think is the better quarterback, Burrow or Patrick Mahomes. Now let me break the game down from a defensive standpoint for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they have to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes early to see how he responds to pressure. And what's ironic about that is that Patrick Mahomes usually is good when he gets outside of the pocket because he can now, get players open. He improvises a lot at the quarterback position, but I want to see how he responds to that, the pressure right in his face, to see can he get away from that pressure. And the Cincinnati Bengals have been pressuring the quarterback on drop back passes at 36% in the playoffs, so that's very high percentages. And I think they have to put pressure, but they also have to be able to stop the running backs coming out of the backfield. They have to make them one-dimensional and put the pressure on Patrick Mahomes and see how he responds. And I think they need to bracket Kelsey and try to see if those other receivers can beat them. Offensively for the Cincinnati Bengals, I think they have to have balance. I think they have to run the football, but most importantly, they have to protect Joe Burrow. I think that's been the issue of protecting Joe Burrow. And I know the offensive line only gave up 1 sack against the Buffalo Bills last week, but I think it was a great matchup, a good matchup for them against the Bills, because the Bills front seven do not get any pressure. That's why they went out and got Von Miller. Von Miller was injured with an ACL injury early in the year. He was not there, and you saw the difference. But running the football for the Cincinnati Bengals and being able to hit Jamar Chase. Man, Jamar Chase has killed the Kansas City Chiefs. First matchup, 11 catches, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. So they definitely need to get the football to Jamar Chase, but they have other weapons they can get the football to as well. But running the football is going to be a key in protecting Joe Burrow. Kansas City Chiefs, I think overall, I give the nod to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they have weapons. I think Patrick Mahomes is that guy. I think he hears the whispers. He hears the footsteps. He hears the talk about Joe Burrow. He wants to win this game. And I don't think that Andy Reid and and Patrick Mahomes is going to lose for a fourth straight time. I just think offensively, they have to, get balance, of course. But I think their wide receivers with Kelsey, I think that's big. Kelsey's big in the red area, 14 touchdowns. That's third most in history. And just defensively, I think putting pressure on that offensive line, I think that's going to be a key. I think the Achilles heel for the Cincinnati Bengals is blocking, is protecting Joe Burrow, and I think that's going to be an issue in this game. In the NFC, I got the Philadelphia Eagles, and in the AFC, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I have broken down the matchups. I have picked both teams from both conferences, and I think that's who's going to represent each other in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs in the AFC and the Eagles in the NFC. Thank you all for listening. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Please give me your comments. I would love to interact with you. Thanks again for tuning in.